Today we sit between Thanksgiving and Advent, as the title of the sermon says. What did I say it was? Not even Advent. I wrote down not yet Advent, not Thanksgiving anymore. To be honest, the title was a shot in the dark presented to the publisher in mid-October. I have a warning for you. If you come to church based on the sermon titles, you're going to miss a lot. I had to give sermon titles for January 2 weeks ago, so who knows what's going to happen. But the truth of it is we sit between these two focal points in the year. Last week, I'm sure Aaron spoke of Thanksgiving and gratitude. And then Thursday came, and many of us sat around the Thanksgiving tables with friends or family or both. And then Black Friday came, frantic shopping, or the avoidance of frantic shopping, tried to wipe away the glow of gratitude for what we have in favor of desire of what we don't have. So on Sunday like this Sunday between Thanksgiving and Advent, I am asking where we see the holy. There are times when I am reminded of God's glory. Just in the past 2 weeks, I have been up north to Grafton, Illinois, where the Prairie Group meets. The Prairie Group are 40 ministers who meet to study a topic chosen for the year to worship and exercise the intellect. The group started 61 years ago and have met in that place each year, and I am privileged to join them as the southernmost prairie minister, almost. We meet along the Illinois River to deepen the spirit and mind. The meetings take place in a lodge at the foot of a short mountain, traditional to climb the mountain at least once in the week. And from the top of the mountain, one can see a long way into the prairie. When I am there, I am reminded of the wonder of the world, by the landscape, by the colleagues I speak with, who talk of the terrible and awesome living God, who remind that God is love, but love is not God, who speak of our precious place in this universe and how hard it is to remember that life is precious, but that we are loved and whole. From those colleagues, I hear the struggles and joys and conversations over dinner and up the trail on the mountain between the thick intellectual papers that exercise the mind. I was with friends and mentors, and I bring you greetings from Dr. Hallman, former senior minister of our church. She and I had a good time and many good conversations about you and about her life and my life. And in this last week, I was in New England to celebrate Thanksgiving in a familiar place in my family's home in the Berkshire Mountains. My children had never been there when it wasn't summer. My youngest, who's 8, asked questions like, "Where are all the leaves?" and "Where is the garden?" There, nature imposes a sense in me of my smallness. And the coming of the winter reminds me of the frailty of our bodies against the cold. And on top of it all, Thanksgiving is there. Family dynamics, crazy making, wonderful and not so wonderful siblings and partners and relatives reminding me sometimes why I live in Texas and they don't. But on occasion, the spirit of love breaks through. The tradition of family, sitting around a table, reminds me of something larger than myself. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it is easy to see the wonder of God, and sometimes not. And in conversations with friends over this last week, I heard how they understood the mystery of the presence of God or in the absence of God in their lives. One friend whose father is living and dying with cancer exclaimed how the careful handling of her father in the hospital where he is touched her in a way to witness this careful touch. While horrible to see his decline. And others took joy in their children, surprising them with new awarenesses and success while mourning the loss of their innocence, their inevitable growth into adulthood, the wheel of time never stopping. And yet others told of family and friends still struggling with the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, water damaging their lives in unexpected ways. In fact, as we flew over New York City to turn into Hartford, Connecticut, we saw a darkened land below us, and my wife asked a neighbor, "What is that land down there with two lights in the evening?" And a fellow passenger said, "That is Long Island." I guess the point of this is a reminder from the old poem that says joy and woe are woven fine, that the presence and absence of God is often so close between a thin veil. So for me on this Sunday between Thanksgiving and Advent, I am asking, where is the holy for you today? As we stand between the holiday of gratitude and the holiday that says God will be imminent in the world, we might ask, where is the holy? Annie Dillard answers that question. Annie Dillard, the poet that you hear, I think, frequently in this pulpit, answers this by saying this. She says, "Every day is a God. Each day is a God. And holiness holds forth in time," she says. "I wake in a God," she says. "I wake in arms holding my quilt, holding me as best as they can inside my quilt." Annie Dillard says she wakes each day aware that she is wrapped in the holy, that there is no day lacking in the holy, no day without it. Knowing that she engages life with all its difficulties, celebrating the tender and surviving the tragic, waking to the day with gratitude and hope, uplifts my spirit. And what she is talking about is what is now called radical immanence, where the presence of the holy, or the presence of God, is in all things, in all moments. My colleague Meg Raleigh wrote in an article recently that if we can cultivate this sense of radical immanence, we will open up abundance in the world rather than scarcity. We will understand the universe as abundant rather than scarce. I like the way she says that, because if we need anything on this day between gratitude and hope rather than commerce, we need a sense that the universe is opening up into abundance. The radical immanence of the holy means we wake up wrapped in it, that each day a God, each moment a possibility, that we will become less cynical and see that what we have and who we are is enough, is holy, is right, is welcome, is hope, is gratitude itself. Now, I know those of you who are struggling in this congregation today hear this kind of message that says all is holy and wonder. It's challenging when we are struggling, or trying our best just to get through the day, or trying to get through Thanksgiving dinner without strangling a relative or friend. I know you're out there. You had that thought, one of you. I know that it is easier to see the holy in that which is good, the sunset, the mountain view, the intellect, rather than in the struggles, the pain, the death. But our faith says that we can and we must find a way to see that we live in a world that is not scarce on mystery, but abundant and worth our attention. Worth our attention and our spiritual attention. Worth us asking each day, what is holy, even in the midst of the struggle. So as I flew over Long Island, where some of my relatives still are with 5 feet of water in their homes, I thought about what it means for them to see the holy in each day. And I found this piece by a university student who left her college and went to New York to see if she could help. And she said this: what was more striking than the closed indefinitely signs that rested on windowsills throughout Tribeca was the overwhelming selflessness New Yorkers showed. It took me a trip out of this Cornell bubble to realize or remind myself, she says, that even beyond my great friends and supportive family, the world and the world's people are awesomely good. Humans, even me, she says, are optimistic, resilient, giving beings, especially in the face of crisis. And I would say that even in that crisis, we are able to see the holy at work. The reminder in her story is that somewhere between gratitude and hope, thanks and expectation, struggle and the aid of the human spirit, dwells the holy among us. My colleague Meg Riley concluded her article on radical immanence saying, divine mystery is woven throughout every moment of time. Every cell of our aging and imperfect bodies, every interaction and choice. Our spiritual practice is to remember to see it. I believe she is right. And so on this Sunday between the holiday of gratitude and the holiday of hope and expectation, let us not worship a thin God that shows up only in our celebrations, but in the celebrations of life, in all interactions and imperfect bodies and moments of our lives. Let us continue the gratitude of thanksgiving into the wonder of Christmas and Advent that says God will be birthed in the world. Let us see with eyes that know care, that we are indefinitely part of this web of all creation, a holy web of life, a web that requires of us thanks and hope. And maybe some new traditions like the turkey fairy to remind us of those things. In the story I told you today, the girl who had become a mother never lost her faith in the life of the Spirit, knowing that it mattered what she did and how she did it. She attended a church like ours because she knew it spoke of important things and a generous and realistic God that was not easily explained away, but seen in life and death, joy and sorrow, the holy moments of gratitude and hope. She knew that each memento and note in her special wooden box was a marker of a day like today, when we are able to give thanks and honor hope and expectation. And she knew that somewhere in there was God, the holy, the life of Spirit, which calls us to walk each day carrying a certain gratitude and hope for our world and our lives. She learned this each day the turkey fairy brought a memento and reminded her that she was loved that there was gratitude for her life, and that there was hope in her journey. The young woman in the story knew that the love that she received from her mother was not only hers, but hers to share, that God was love, but love wasn't God, that the holy was in her efforts at making life good and generous and kind. So today, I ask that you reflect on what you are truly grateful for, not leaving it to wither on the Thanksgiving table. As the merchandise sirens call you to the shelves of the mall, it is a day to ask yourself, what are you grateful for, and what are you hopeful about? What expectation is worth carrying as a companion to your thanks and gratitude? How will you hold the holy close as you pass through these days? That is the task on this not yet Advent day. May you find its blessings today and always, and may the holy be amongst you.